Are the Chicago Bears officially in contender territory and the NFL is starting to notice? We'll talk a little bit about that. Odunze just gave a massive praise to the Chicago Bears rookies and what that means for their next seasons. Bleacher Report ranked the Chicago Bears in the top 7 in the league. We're going to talk about that and their contender status. And Kayden McDonald is the perfect dark horse candidate for Dennis Allen's defense in the draft. We'll talk about it all and more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Sarah Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And I want to pick up from this quote from Odunze in regards to the Chicago Bears rookies, right? Because this is something that I think, you know, a lot of people universally are talking about the Bears rookie class, the fact that we had such a good rookie class, and of course, hoping that Ryan Poles is going to be able to do it again in 2026. He said this: "It was awesome, man. I mean, to see their emergence throughout the season and their more prolific role within the offense as the season goes on, just seeing their playmaking ability was dope, man." And that's great. When you look at what the Bears had in their rookies last year, Colston Loveland led the team with 713 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns on the season. Luther Burden right behind him with 652 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift had the Chicago Bears, you know, as one of the best running attacks in the league. Kyle Monangai had 783 yards and 5 touchdowns, while adding another 164 yards receiving as well. There's just no doubt about it that the Bears rookie class had great performances. Ozzy Trapilo, you know, what he came along as and established himself as the starting left tackle. Unfortunately, he went down with injury, and, you know, he's going to miss a nice chunk of next season, but him even. And then, of course, you got guys in the wings like Ruben Hippolyte that wasn't, you know, able to do a lot, play a lot for the Chicago Bears. Zay Frazier didn't play any in the season, so you still have even guys still that you're still hoping are going to be able to step up and give even more for the Chicago Bears. The crazy part about all of this is that the Bears, you know, when you look at those stats that we gave, the fact that Colston Loveland took about what, week 4 to really get involved in the offense, same thing for Luther Burden for sure. And yeah, we had injuries that put those guys in more prominent roles, of course, as the season went on, with Odunze missing some time as well. By the way, some of y'all are a little bit weird, weird in general, right? And I'm going to be honest here. You know, it's to see so many Bears fans and some of the guys that said the same thing at the start of the season saying, well, Odunze is the number one. He's clearly the best wide receiver now. And then after he had some issues because of injury and still trying to play on the football field and clearly be hurt, oh, I don't know about Odunze. I'm unsure. Are we sure that Odunze could be number one? Some of y'all take such drastic swings in either direction and don't know how to have like a conversation that's just in the middle where most of this is. Some of y'all have to go from one extreme to another, and it's really strange. Like, we saw what Odunze was able to be. And even though the 660 yards, 6 touchdowns, an average of 15 yards per reception, playing in 12 games. And the fact that some of y'all are still now doubting, oh, well, is Rome really? Is he really that good? Is he really that guy? Like, it'd be different if y'all had that doubt always. But some of y'all let injuries skew y'all vision too much. And it's like y'all, and I can tell that some of y'all, like ECH Bears fan, have never been athletic the entirety of y'all career. I've never done anything athletic at all, because some of y'all don't realize how much coming back from an injury really does hamper some things, like, and hurt some things, and how much, like, you were trying to be a warrior by even getting back out there on the football field when you're not. Nonetheless, some of y'all call off for coughs, so it is what it is there. But with that said, the Bears rookie class was one of the standouts of the season for the Chicago Bears, amongst a lot of things standing out really well for the Bears. Caleb Williams' ascension, Ben Johnson coming in as the culture that we're establishing, the offensive line, which was dominant throughout most of the year, right? All those type of things. This Bears rookie class is a big reason why this team is going to get better, even through just internal improvements. Now, of course, the defensive line leaves some things to be desired, but there are a lot of internal things that are going to happen with this team that I think are going to alone help us get to that next step, right? Take that next step as a team. And when you have rookies and young players that are such a big part of that, they're, of course, natural progression. And you figure out how to use those guys better. Those guys are going to understand the game. It's going to slow down to them a little bit more. Their ability to read defenses is going to get better and understand how and where to leverage some things that are some of their strengths are just going to get better. And that's the part that makes this rookie class so exciting for the Chicago Bears. And so hearing somebody like Odunze, who himself built off his rookie year and what he did last season before he went down, it's really good to acknowledge that the Bears have a nice young core that's building here. And like I said, that's really where you want to sustain things at. When you have so many of your guys that are young being prominent parts of your team, it really does add to how you have flexibility cap-wise. Now, eventually it's going to catch up with you, and I want to be clear there. Having so many guys that were drafted within a year, 2, even 3 years within each other, those extensions are all going to start coming up, back-to-back at that point in time, and that's when you have to start really hoping that you've built a team well enough by that point to where you trust it. And there are going to be naturally some people that you're going to have to let go, but that's a story for another day. We'll get to that down the road. We are so far from that at this point in time. We'll talk about it at some point, right? But you want to have, when you are able to find answers to some of the questions on your rosters through the draft, especially when it's even some of the non-premium picks, like finding Kyle Monangai in round 7, do you know what that does? Not only to a cap situation, but do you know what that does to flexibility-wise, right? That does so much for that because you were able to find a legitimate, probably a starting level running back in round 7. That is huge for the ceiling of a team. And so that's what Ryan Poles is able to do. Now we need Poles to be able to do it again. We'll talk a little bit more on the draft in the last topic today, but that's what we need Ryan Poles to find a way to do it again. Because if he does, that just adds to what this Bears team is continually trying to build. That adds to what we have to do. That adds to your cap flexibility. That adds to all of that. And hopefully we do that again. Hopefully, I'm not expecting us to have another draft class at the level of what we had. Because still some of those guys, Ruben Hippolyte still got something to show. Jay Frazier still has something to show. But we had such a good rookie class. Now, let's take it a step further because those guys are going to get better. Let's continue to support those guys in their development and growth, having the right coaches, having the right mindset. Ben Johnson is going to further evolve the system now to fit those guys even more. That's the part that I'm really excited about, right? Is that having now Press Taylor as the OC, you have Ben Johnson that's still the orchestrator of the offense, the guy that's calling the plays, is that now with seeing the guys, the strength that these guys have and seeing how they better fit together, we're going to see another evolution of the offense for the Chicago Bears. And I think that's going to be a part that we can all, be excited about. Like I keep saying it. We have the makings of a very special offense. We got some things that we need to tighten up. We got some things that we need to look for, like plan forward to, right? Like because we did go out there and get those veterans on that offensive line, we got to still draft some young guys that have the potential of taking over and being the next step in a couple of years for those guys if we, they move on or they retire or whatever else it is. So, having that and having a legacy that we're trying to build here and having an offense that could truly be special for the Bears, I think is why you're going to see a lot of people this offseason start turning some of their talk last season around on the Bears. And don't get me wrong, too. I think one thing that the Bears are going to benefit, too, is that how Drake May and the Patriots completely wet the bed in the Super Bowl. It's going to be more people it's going to have a trickle-down effect to where people are going to be like, would that have happened for the Bears? Like, the Bears are so well coached, so well this, and we need to get our defense together. But one thing is, I think the Bears would have put up some points earlier. Well, can I say that with the way that we've sometimes not scored into the second half? I don't know. Maybe I'm being a homer, but nonetheless, that's my stance on it, and we'll see where that takes the Chicago Bears, man. With that said, let's get into the next topic for today. The Bleacher Report had their way too early power rankings, and this is always just a fun conversation point more than anything. It's not a lot to take out of it, right? But when you look at it as well, the Bear, how they rank it after the Super Bowl, this happens. A lot of outlets do theirs. The Chicago Bears ranked ahead of the San Francisco 49ers, ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles, ahead of the Houston Texans, all which made the playoffs last season. And the Jacksonville Jaguars finished one spot ahead of the Chicago Bears in their way too early power rankings. The Chicago Bears came in at number 7. What does this mean? Nothing. But it does show that the talk around the Chicago Bears is changing. The tides are changing around how the Bears are viewed, and a lot goes into that. Now, in their explanation of where the Bears sit, they said this: Ben Johnson proved to be the right hire as the Chicago Bears head coach. And his presence helped Caleb Williams begin to trek towards realizing his potential as an elite quarterback. Everything else from 2025 season was gravy for the team. Williams' talent was on full display, particularly late in games. Considering the franchise has essentially been searching for a legitimate franchise quarterback since Sig Luckman retired in 1950. First of all, that's crazy. Williams' development became the driving force behind everything the organization did this past season and is already starting to be rewarded. His creativity and playmaking ability shine brightly. The Bears are now a real contender after winning the NFC North, and they have the potential to get even better. Now, that's great. I love hearing that about my Bears because the Bears do have the potential to get even better. Now, they got things that they need to do in this offseason. The internal development, which I talked about in the first segment, that's great. It's fine and dandy. And there is going to be a lot of internal development that helps this team takes this step to the next level. Want to be clear on that. But when you look at this, right, the Bears had two of the best possible outcomes that they could have had in the 2025 season, right, is that Ben Johnson created a culture here and established a culture. Now we get to build off on that, right, and use that there. But then also, Caleb Williams, the guy that you drafted number 1 overall now 2 years ago, has now ascended to being that starting quarterback that we all know that's there. The building blocks are here for the Chicago Bears team. It's on Ryan Poles, it's on Ben Johnson, it's on the players and their ascension and taking their development personally to get us to that next level. But the Bears actually have building blocks to where we are now going towards the right place. This Bears team has not been in a position like this for years. You know how many Bears fans I see write comments that leave comments on the channel all the time? It's like, I've been a Bears fan since the 80s. I've been a Bears fan for 30 years, and this is the most excited I've been about a team. That is good. As a Bears fan and as somebody who is in this community, in this fandom for my entire life, it is good to see Bears fans actually legitimately excited about this team again. That's what it is. It's so fun to see this team and this franchise be in a spot where people are starting to believe again in what this team can be, in what this team can establish. It is so fun. That is a part of me, the fan part. This isn't the podcast or Hayes or anything like that. This is just me, the person who loves this team, loves this city, to see the excitement around the Bears again. I love it. It comes with some doubt. It comes with some hate. It comes with some whatever, some pessimism from some Bears fans because, listen, I can understand it. There's a segment of the Bears community that is always going to be a little bit hesitant to let themselves really live in this feeling. And to some degree, you can't either. Like the team can't let themselves live in it because you got to take the step to the next level, right? But as just a fan, I love seeing this, and I am amazed by how we have changed the culture over the last couple of years. The first step of doing that was drafting Caleb Williams, getting Rome Odunze, right? I think that was the first step in this because I do think that goes lock in step with us getting Ben Johnson. Then having Ben Johnson and what he's coming here to do, and to have George McCaskey actually say what he was do what he said he was going to do. Let this team spend money to improve and get the fuck out the way. Yeah, he was still involved in the coaching search because he wants to just see and get a feeling. You know, there are some people that rightfully so, I'm not saying that y'all were wrong for it, but had such big doubts about if things were really changing when they heard that George McCaskey was sitting in on some of these coach interviews. But like he really did, like, hey, once they hired their coach, he let the checkbook talk. He let Ben Johnson go out there and get some big time assistants and position coaches that spent the money. We made Ben Johnson one of the highest paid coaches in the NFL for his first contract. That's something the Bears have not typically done. So when you look at an organizational shift, it is all from every level is starting to shift. I wish I could say the same thing about the Chicago Bears, but McCaskey getting out the way, Ryan Poles cooking and actually now going out and revamping the offensive line, having an amazing draft class, having Ben Johnson in here to lead these men, right, and to develop something that we're trying to now continue to build off on here. It's been great to see. It's shifting for Chicago. Now, we got a lot to prove because like we've seen it before. There have been some really great seasons for teams over the years. You want to have more than just one. This last, it can't be a flash in the pan. And when you factor in the fact of how the Chicago Bears still won so many games with so many injuries, and I get it. There's going to be that one pessimist that's like, every team has injuries. But not every team has injuries to the level where our complete secondary was ravished. The secondary that Dennis Allen glowed about how he was going to use those pieces together, we never got to see that. We never got to see that team take the field together. So, yeah, we had injuries, and yes, every NFL team has injuries, but it's not all at one position. Or you got to rely on Deshaun Wright. Thank God for Deshaun Wright coming in and having the season that he had. This team is making the right step. And that's the thing that feels really good about where we are as a franchise, is that it seems like we are making the right steps. We've made the right decisions, and we're now starting to reap the benefits of those succession of right decisions that are being made. Now let's continue to make right decisions in this offseason and get to the next level. Now, with that said, one of the things that did hurt the Chicago Bears is the NFL has made its official decision, and the Bears will not be getting compensatory picks in losing Ian Cunningham. This was that was put out here officially by the NFL, who emailed Mike Florio with confirmation saying this. The policy for receiving picks pertains to head coach or primary football executive. The primary football executive position was filled by Matt Ryan, despite Matt Ryan himself live on air, and it's something that has made its way through all social media saying, oh, it's all going to be on Ian Cunningham. It's all going to be the decisions of Ian Cunningham. That is fucking trash, bro. And I get it that I'm a fan, but it's fucking trash, bro. I hate seeing this when it comes down to it and what's going on here and how the Bears were done by this. But hey, that's the rule of the land. It's compensatory picks. We're not going to get them. And so because of that, we didn't technically lose anything, but we definitely didn't gain what we should have, if that makes sense for the Chicago Bears. But hey, the direct quote from Matt Ryan saying this: Ian Cunningham is driving this boat. He's the one that's leading us moving forward. That's Ian's regular season right now. He's in on it, and he's driving the ship for us. That sounds like a primary decision maker for me. But, me bitching about it on this podcast ain't going to change shit. The NFL is never going to see this. It doesn't matter. And while everybody has the right to their feelings on it, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Now we're going to have to move on. We're going to have to, do what we can do without it. And that's just the reality of it. Like, it would have been, of course, nice for Ryan Poles to get some more tools at his disposal to use in case he did, want to use those compensatory picks in other moves and things like that. And so that's what it comes down to. But it sucks. But the real world is you don't get everything that you should, and life damn sure ain't fair. And that's just the reality of the situation. So, yeah, the Bears aren't getting their compensatory picks. We're not going to have that as added tools in the shed. We're not going to get that. And the reality is, fuck it. It is what it is. That's all I can say. It is what it is. So now the Bears get to just focus on what they need to get going to. We still got to find a replacement for Ian Cunningham. And hopefully we find that. That's probably going to be internally. And the Bears can just focus this offseason on improving the product on the field, getting that defensive line shored up, and then let's go out and attack it, and let's see what happens at that point in time. But one of the biggest avenues for us to improve this team this offseason is, of course, the NFL draft. And there's starting to be a lot more draft talk. We will have our draft, our mock drafts coming up here shortly. They will be starting. We'll probably get those started maybe by the end of this month is maybe when we'll start. No, we'll probably start doing it before then. So maybe even as soon as next week. We still got some more of those other videos as far as the things that we like to see the Bears focus on to get out. Still got to get C-Dubs out. Mike's is in the chamber as well. So those will be coming here soon. But with that said, one of the things that's been talked about, NFL Scout talked about the Chicago Bears and who they should target. Former scout, this is Greg Gabriel, right? He was a Bear scout as well. He talked about the Chicago Bears targeting in the first round Kayden McDonald. Now, for those that know, I'm an Ohio State guy. Ohio State is my team. It's my college team. It is what it is. Ohio State and Illinois, those are the two college teams that I support the most. So I try my best not to push an Ohio State prospect because I do have a bias there. So I always try to wait till somebody else talks about it, right? So with Greg Gabriel saying that if defensive tackle Kayden McDonald is on the board at number 25, he said the Bears better take him. Now, with that said, Greg Gabriel spent 30 years in the NFL, 30 years between the Bears and the New York Giants. He was in the scouting department there when the Bears reached the Super Bowl in 2006, right? This is a guy that has had insights into the draft for years. And with that said, he said this: McDonald has a rare mix of size, power, and quickness. You think he's just a big slab of meat occupying space, then he shoots a gap and chases a running back down the line for a tackle. Comparisons for experts include DJ Reader, who's been a very good nose tackle for 10 years, and Vince Wilfork, and likely eventual Hall of Famer. Neither of those possibilities will be bad for the Bears. Either way, their defensive would improve almost immediately. Now, let's look at what Kayden McDaniels is. Or McDonald. Why I always want to say McDaniels? McDonald is. This guy is 6'3", 326 pounds. This is a guy that I tell you what right now, he is going to be a run-stuffing beast for any team that ends up drafting him. If it's the Chicago Bears, it's the Chicago Bears. He had 3 sacks last year, 2 forced fumbles in his first full year being a starter in his junior year. Now, some are going to say it's only 1 year sample size, hey, so how concerned are you about that? And I'll say there's a legit concern there. But I think when you look at Andrew Billings being a free agent, all the things that we need to revamp on that defensive line, getting somebody who you know is going to be a run stopper and that projects to be that legitimately, that's a guy that you can go. And I think he does answer questions for the Chicago Bears team. You want to be run stopping. The Bears have to be a better run stopper. We just have to, right? When you look at Dennis Allen's defenses, when they've ranked the best, they've been great at run stopping. 2018, they were the second best in defensive in run defense. They were the 14th best defense overall. 2019, 4th in run stopping, 11th best defense of all. 2020, 4th best run stopping defense, 4th overall in the league. In 2021, 4th run stopping defense, 7th in the entire league as far as defense. That is an important aspect of Dennis Allen's defense. And so if you can get that with Andrew Billings being a free agent and somebody who we may not look to bring back, bringing in Kayden McDonald, a young guy that can fill that space with that big body as well, can do wonders for the Chicago Bears. And I keep saying McDonald. So that's who I would want to see this. Like, I love the pick there for the Bears. I won't necessarily say that that's my there's a couple of prospects there in round 1 that I would love to see the Chicago Bears go after, but I'm not mad at him as a prospect. Plus, he's from my school, so I don't hate that at all. And we'll see what happens with that one. But let me know what you guys think about Kayden McDonald being a potential draft pick there by the Chicago Bears to help shore up that defensive line. But the Chicago Bears are entering contender territory, and hopefully that's real. That's going to happen. Caleb Williams is ascending. Ben Johnson has established a culture. Young weapons all over the place for the Chicago Bears. And is Ryan Poles about to cook again this offseason? The Bears aren't sneaking up on anyone anymore, and I love it about this team. People are going to have to look out for the Chicago Bears. But if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel as well. Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Is Kayden McDonald the move at number 25? And how aggressive should Ryan Poles be about trades? That's what I want to hear from you guys. You can follow us at Chi Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number 1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.